Yeah!
And it bubbled and flowed and bubbled and flowed and ebbed and flowed for us, and it was amazing. It was just the relief and enthusiasm and absolute disbelief almost of people, and the joy and the emotion. I have never seen so many grown men cry in my life.
Sheila McCaffrey's son shot that videotape. She is a director for Belize Natural Energy, the Irish-American team of wildcatters, independent oil explorers, who made the Belize discovery. Jean Cormac is BNE's chief geologist.
Yeah, well, I was very nervous because we had tested another zone below that we had very high hopes on. Turned out to be basically salt water. And when this one was being perforated, I didn't know which way it was going to go. So it was,
Dozens of times before, Jean had watched as oil well explorations in Belize ended in failure. Drillers, many of them representing major international oil companies, took their shots and gave up, leaving Belize spattered with abandoned oil wells like this one in the capital city, Belmopan. Then, in 2002,
a local farmer drilled a water well about 4 years ago. And
drill, drill, drill. Suddenly this black stuff comes up in the drill mix, and I said to the driller, "Hey Joe, you've just bust a pump and it's leaking oil." And he said, "Oh dear." So he went and checked and said, "No, it's not bust." Anyway, to cut a long story short, we had hit some crude oil.
So the big question is, just how much oil is there?
I would think that we are dealing with fairly small oil fields, but it could be a string of them. And it's very high quality oil. The depth of the reservoir is very reasonable. And so if we can cut down the cost of exploration by creating an infrastructure, then a lot of fields that may be marginal might also become commercial.
Spanish Lookout oil is of such high quality, it's being sold to local farmers for their tractors straight out of the ground. Another beauty of the Belize oil discovery, it seems to be just the right size to serve Belize and its Central American region.
It's going to be very significant for the overall economy of the country. The country currently is using about the equivalent of between 5,000 and 6,000 barrels of oil per day in their domestic needs. If you take all of the other electricity needs and everything, it probably creeps up closer to between 8,000 and 9,000 barrels per day. We think that's achievable in the medium term here in Spanish Lookout.
The oil strike here in Belize has already had a major impact, especially on employment. Sheila McCaffrey estimates there are 250 newly created jobs in the oil industry here already, with many more on the way. Just 4 wells working, and already 250 oil industry jobs created in a country whose population is just 280,000. And each of those jobs spreads the wealth.
In addition to having a farm, I also have a restaurant, and through good fortune, the oil drillers have chosen my restaurant as their place of choice to eat, and so I've received good income from it, yes.
No wonder Margison and his customers celebrate the oil strike in Belize.
I think it has tremendous potential to transform Belize. Energy is a critical thing in this country. We spend a lot of money. Our cost of energy here is higher than anywhere else in Central America, and I think potentially it could change this country in big ways.
Even as they worry about Paradise Lost?
Certainly, something to be very, very careful about. I think Belize is very unique in what it has now, and it has to be protected. You cannot just let this place be overrun with too much wealth. Really, really, really. I would hate to see it change too much.
I'm Dave Marish, Al Jazeera, San Ignacio, Belize.